welcome back to Westerospective, where we bring you Game of Thrones, the old seasons and the new. I'm Geoff.
I'm Ron.
And if this is your first time catching us, what we are doing with this series is ToNight's Watch, our basically main series on the channel, was where we were recapping the brand new episodes of Season 6 of Game of Thrones. Well, now that we are in the between waiting for the show to come back, we are going back one episode per week, popping one up Sunday night, basically going back to the very beginning and giving a rewatch of the series with the perspective of having seen all of the current materials. So please be warned for spoilers. We are not reviewing these as if we are just watching them all over again. We are watching them with the perspective of being up to date. So you have been warned for spoilers for basically everything seasons 1 through season 6 of Game of Thrones. And with that, we are going to start off the episode. This is Season 1, Episode 3, Lord Snow. What were your overall thoughts, just kind of getting started?
I don't know if it's just because I know where all of this is going or not, but I fucking loved this episode, dude.
I loved this episode quite a bit, too. And you want to know, like, it's kind of a bittersweet episode because if there was ever an episode that was like showing you brazenly on display the calm before the storm, this was it. Like there are so many characters that we're gonna get introduced. There's so much groundwork being laid for just some of the awful shit that this show consists of. That this might be the most lighthearted episode of the series. Like
probably.
Like there's actual moments of genuine comedy. Like people have fun. That's odd to see.
It's been so long since I've seen anyone in this show have fun.
Well, we have seen people have fun while they're murdering people. We've seen that a couple times.
That is true.
Not fun minus the whole murder part. But yeah, my first note I have for this episode was actually something. I don't know if you have seen this yet. So I was curious when the episode started out, and I saw that it was the third one in a row written by Benioff and Weiss, the showrunners. So I went and actually researched season 1 to see how many they wrote. I want you to make a guess. How many episodes out of the 10 were written in season 1 by Benioff and Weiss?
7.
Close. 8.
8. Wow.
That impresses the shit out of me. Because I know most showrunners, obviously, when they're getting their show off the ground for season 1, they have more time. They have the most time they're ever going to have if their show is a success. But regardless, for those two dudes to have written 80% of season 1 of this show, that's impressive. And I was kind of blown away by that.
Gee, Geoff, how did you get that math done so quick?
I know, right? I just brought my handy-dandy calculator and carry the one. But yeah, I've actually we've talked about this with other shows. That was one of my biggest complaints about Jessica Jones, actually, is because the showrunner of the show pretty much showed up for the first episode, season 1 of their show, so they have time. I'm pretty sure she showed up for the first episode, came back around for the last episode, and maybe wrote one other one.
Yeah,
I like to see this. I like to see the showrunners be very hands-on, and they really, literally set the tone for the whole series.
Not only that, think about how smart the episodes are, like we've been talking about in the last 2, and I assume we're going to in this one, because there's a lot of stuff that is foreshadowing and whatnot in this one also. How smart each episode is, and for them to be consistently good, and it's all the same people and not burned out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because writing 8 out of 10 episodes of something would be hard enough. To not get burned out with how layered and dense all this stuff is, I don't even know how they did that.
And it would be hard just to write 8 episodes of television out of 10 like this for a season period, but to have to at the same time figure out how to rework already established material, and it's so faithful. Like, you never really hear that much bitching when it comes to A Song of Ice and Fire book readers when it comes to the show. I mean, there are nitpicks, of course, like there's with everything, but it doesn't get, like, crucified like a lot of other established properties do when they get adapted. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I thought I thought I'd share that. Well, it was also funny. One of the other people who wrote the other 2 episodes, George R.R. Martin.
Really?
So 9 out of the 10 of season 1 were either Benioff and Weiss or GRRM. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's crazy.
So the episode opens up. They are actually landing in King's Landing, and it was very interesting for me to see. Have you noticed in the newer seasons they almost have like an established way that they do the cinematography for each area? Like, I just kind of noticed it when I was watching this episode. Like, when you're watching the new seasons, you can tell kind of by the way it's filmed when they're in certain spots, like when they're on the wall, when they're in King's Landing. Like, with King's Landing now, they kind of like, and it's partially because of the budget increase, but at King's Landing, they really, really like to show you just how gorgeous King's Landing is. And here it looks kind of shitty because they didn't have the budget they do now.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like I said before, it's pretty interesting going back and looking at, and they had the original budget, the original effects group and everything, because a lot of it looks like on-stage theater props and stuff, and now it all feels like you're really there. So
yeah,
it's
and now it doesn't look bad.
No, it doesn't look bad.
It looks astounding for what I'm sure it was. I'd be curious to see what percentage of like season 6 that budget they had for season 1.
Yeah,
like the fact that it looks anywhere close in the spectrum at all is like very, very impressive cinematography and work by all the cast and crew. The first notes I have is how awesome is the Ned and Jamie trash talk been this season?
Oh God, I love it. Probably a good half of it, if not more, didn't mean a whole lot to me, the previous viewings. But now that I can get the full range of what they're saying, like, when they're in the throne room and he points out how tip-top shape Jamie's armor is.
Yeah, I have the quote if you want me to do the full quote.
Yeah, do the whole quote.
Very handsome armor, not a scratch on it. I know, people have been swinging at me for years, but they always seem to miss.
And then he says, choose your opponents wisely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fucking good, dude. Dude, I didn't realize it. God, we've been talking about every episode. That Jamie actor crushed season 1.
Yes, he did.
Oh my, like he might be in this episode, like, the MVP of this episode too. It's just crazy.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Tyrion had a lot of really good scenes too.
Yeah, Tyrion too. This was also interesting to me too. All of the trash talk between Jamie and Ned was actually one of the first times when you're revisiting the show that you realize, wow, they are, doing the normal for Game of Thrones in subverting expectations. Because in any other show, when you have all of this trash talk between 2 leads like this, it's going to end up being like the climactic battle of the season.
Yeah.
And then when you eventually do get their fight, even to Jamie's like displeasure, the fight gets abruptly ended before it's able to be a satisfying fight for everyone, including the people in the battle, including the viewers. And it happens like halfway through the season, maybe like episode 6 or something like that, 7 maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was very interesting because, that's the whole motto behind Game of Thrones is subverting expectations with character deaths or with making you think they're going to do what 99% of all the other television shows or movies do and then go in the 180.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I had actually forgotten too. They make a point of saying the Mad King had killed Ned's dad and brother.
Yes.
Did you remember that?
Yeah, burned him alive, right?
I had completely forgotten about that subplot.
Yeah, I had remembered that he killed them. I didn't remember it was with, I'm assuming, wildfire or whatever they call it. Green goo from hell. Yeah, that, and I didn't realize how much of that backstory that you kind of get, how much of it is inferred in this episode. When you know the complete backstory behind Jamie killing the king, the Mad King and everything, you can infer quite a bit of that. When you don't know the whole story or it's not spelled out for you, it just kind of goes over your head. It's actually pretty ingenious the way it's written.
This show is so fucking dense and genius at the same time. I don't know how I was able to watch it without getting nosebleeds originally.
This whole podcast of ours has been nothing but the word ingenious, genius, and dense.
And foreshadowing.
Branding. Sunday.
Yeah. We get now. This was all caps for me. Fucking Varys and Littlefinger for the first time.
Yes.
Like, you don't realize when you're watching it, just like how awesome you're about to get it with all these amazing supporting characters.
And to right out of the gate for Littlefinger to be like, "Oh, by the way, I'm in love with your wife."
Yeah, right.
And your brother filleted me.
I love the first exchange too between Varys and Ned when he walks up to the first meeting of like the king's council table type thing.
Yeah.
And then Varys, he pulls the whole line like, "Our prayers are with the prince" and shit like that. And then Sean Bean, giving no fucks, just says, "Shame you didn't say a prayer for the butcher's son."
Yeah.
Like, Sean Bean and that character are so awesome, but you don't realize, like, dude, you know this is a dangerous place, but you don't know who you're talking to right now.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, it's just like, it's this show back in season 1 when you go back, it makes you almost like wish you could yell through the screen.
I know, right?
Everybody really likes you, Ron.
Dude, the first moment too, when you can tell how his attitude is going to be, was when the guy tells him basically he needs to change his clothes before he goes into the small council.
I almost wrote down the quote. Yeah, he just kind of...
And he just stares at him.
He just stares at him. The guy's just like, fucking old.
Like, yeah, this is the way it goes down in the north, son.
Sean Bean was fantastic in this episode.
Oh, no.
Did you notice, too, in that first council meeting, how Littlefinger actively sounds less sinister?
Yes.
He's like, it's partially him still truly finding his character and delivery. Aidan Gillen is the actor who's Littlefinger.
Yeah, and he may not entirely know at this point either where that character's going.
But when you get to later moments of the show, you start getting sprinkles of him, being sinister Littlefinger, to the point where I almost wonder if he outwardly seems the least sinister when he's at this council meeting, where I wonder how much of it was between the actor and the directors, talking about, like, at this point in the show, Littlefinger's kind of wiry and, weaselly, but you don't really think he can be as capable of doing what he can.
Yeah.
So I wonder how much of it was specifically him being reserved.
A good example of exactly what you're talking about is the small council meeting versus later in the episode when he's talking to Ned and Kat.
Specifically, Catelyn. That was one of my notes too. Yeah, we'll go back on to this when we get back to that scene.
There's a pretty stark contrast.
Yeah.
Just in this episode alone, at the way he acts, his facial expressions, his body language. He's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Let's use the buzzword ingenious.
Branding.
We'll get back to that one in a bit. So this was also an interesting scene to me. They transitioned to a scene from the council to Joffrey with Cersei, and I wanted to write down some notes about this one. I thought it was fascinating how in this conversation with his mother, Joffrey is actually being kind at points. Like, he's being kind of humble. He's actually calling himself out for shit. There's a 1% sliver of humanity there. And as soon as the humanity, comes out of his mouth, Cersei snuffs it out and warps him into the sadistic little shit that we all know and love.
Yeah. Love being used very loosely.
Yeah, so Cersei, worst mother of all time. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like,
yeah.
So, how much of Joffrey was the byproduct of Cersei just being like the absolute worst parent you can imagine. Because, like, at that point, she, in that conversation, she basically says the wrong thing at almost every turn of what she should be saying to him.
But, Geoff, he's a Lannister. He's the prince. He will be king.
Man, it's so frustrating to watch moments like that. It was like,
if
don't
only
even
we
know
knew back then, Geoff.
You don't even know what you're doing, Cersei.
If only she knew then, because she even kind of regrets later making him what he is.
Oh, she definitely regrets it because now she has a whopping 0 children. A plus parentage right there.
Oh, wow. That was harsh.
Hey, I'm just calling. I didn't write it. I'm just calling it like I see it. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. It's like, Jesus fucking, man, we are. There's gonna be so many expletives when it comes to Joffrey all over again. It's like we're experiencing the awfulness all over again. Let's see. Let's transition to something a little bit more positive to talk about, and that is how awesome is Arya in this episode.
Oh,
dude?
I know.
This was like the first episode where you really see how special Maisie Williams is.
Yes.
She was already like one of the better actresses on the show at age probably 8 or 9 at this point.
She's just sitting there stabbing the table.
Yeah. I put down the quote. She says, "I'm practicing for what?" And then her delivery of just saying "the prince," where everyone at the table is just like, "What?"
Well, that could get you killed if the wrong person heard it.
Arya is fucking awesome in this episode. It's crazy too. Like, I think it's more ironic than it is straight up foreshadowing. But she's doing like the axe murderer type stabbing motions.
Yeah.
And she ends up being kind of like a serial killer.
Pretty much. Let's talk about Sansa for a moment when Ned
Oh my
came
god.
in.
Speaking of wanting to reach my hand through my laptop, I have never wanted to slap someone more than I wanted to slap Sansa in that scene.
Oh my god. If you just forgotten how self-absorbed and everything she was when she was referring to it in season 6, this scene was all you needed to see.
Yeah, one of my notes was, I miss season 6 Sansa.
I did like the quote though that Ned had of "war is easier than girls" or something like that, or than raising girls.
War is easier than daughters or something like that. But when he brings her that doll, and within 5 episodes or whatever, he's gone.
Yeah,
it is devastating to watch that shit again. Like, I was like, just like the doll, Sansa, just give the guy a fucking break.
Throw him a bone, man.
Fucking Sansa. Well, the good news, we only have to wait 5 more seasons for cool Sansa. It'll be here before we know it. So, did you have anything else to add with that whole exchange? That was a pretty good portion of the first episode.
Did we cut from there to Arya in her room?
From there, we actually went to... I can't remember if they switched back to it or if... Let's see. I'm checking over my notes. We can go. Let's just go ahead and talk about when they go back to the room, because I think they might have cut to something else, or they might have gone directly.
Was that Jaime and Cersei?
Do what?
Was that Jaime and Cersei that cut to, or was that later?
Maybe. But yeah, let's go ahead and just cut to it and talk where Ned goes to her room.
Yeah.
Like,
this was an awesome scene. I really liked the scene, especially when. In the back of your head, first and foremost, you're just like, what are you doing when you know it's him answering the door with fucking needle when your brother told you to hide it? But that conversation that they have about needle is pretty awesome. But, like you said, you're just calling it like you see it. That's basically the entire conversation Ned had with her. He's like, well, Sansa has to take his side because she's going to be married to him at one point, and da-da-da-da-da. And just, it's more of like, oh, Ned. Just, oh, Ned. Well,
you want to know was one of my favorite quotes from that, too? I didn't write it down exactly, so I'm paraphrasing, but when he's doing what you're talking about. He's saying to, Arya, she had the lie because she was in front of the king and queen. And then Arya just straight up says, so was I.
Yeah.
I fucking love season 1 Arya, dude. Arya was already amazing.
Season 1 Arya is season 6 Arya still.
Well, just minus the serial killing, but I get. Yeah,
I think it's there. I feel like it's there, especially at the table with the knife.
Yeah. There's also a quick moment too. She starts listing names, and you're just like, that's pretty cool. I think that's more irony than it is foreshadowing, but it's still fucking cool when she starts throwing out names.
Yeah.
I can't wait specifically with Arya for her stuff in season 2 with Jaqen and Meat Pie and all that. That was a cool plot line.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get back to that. Did you have anything else you wanted to add with the Ned and Arya scene?
No, just that I also always loved the fact that Ned let her keep Needle, and then also gave her a dancing instructor.
Oh, we were going to get to that.
I know.
We're going to fucking get to that. I love me some Syrio, dude.
Syrio's amazing.
So, my next notes I actually have are they transition to the first time you see Bran in the bed where he's been paralyzed.
Dude, this scene is so much more awesome now that I know what's coming than I originally ever thought.
Now, this was actually a note I put down. When the lady who was with him,
who deserves a fucking award for this scene alone, by the way.
Yeah, first of all, the scene is spectacular, where she is basically telling all of the awful shit that is about to happen to Jon and Bran, like to a T, to the point she is so on point and on the money with all of her story, with the being predictions. Basically, one of her quotes that I wrote down was hunting with their packs of pale spiders big as hounds. I almost wonder if at some point when they start dealing more with the White Walkers, we're eventually going to get fucking giant-ass pale spiders, dude.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
I do not need that noise in my life.
Arachnophobes be warned for Season 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
This is also one of our continuing trends with this show, is analyzing the acting skills of Bran. Bran is good in this episode again.
Yeah. Yeah, probably not as good. I think he's already on the decline, but yeah.
Yeah. But it's still
genuine.
This episode is genuine Gary Oldman level compared to some of the shit we're getting now.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I completely taken aback knowing what he's going to turn into. He's going to be just as dead as the White Walkers eventually. And
it's so odd.
It is.
It's so odd. Like it's mind-boggling to me.
It's like he's trying to get fired or something.
Like maybe that's why he got suspended for a season. That's why he wasn't in season 5.
Maybe it's like Better Call Saul. He gets to keep the checks if he gets fired rather than quitting or something.
so they're just like, you go sit in a room and think about what you've done. We're gonna go film season 5. We'll come back and get you. Yeah, that scene when he's talking about his paralysis with Rob, about how he would rather be dead.
Oh my god,
feels genuine, and a 9-year-old or 10-year-old kid actor shouldn't be able to portray genuine, heartfelt, I'd rather be dead right now, like he does. It's good. And
Rob's reaction to that too, and just knowing which one of those in that room makes it. It's just like, oh.
The fucking the Starks, dude.
I know.
Starks. It's just,
and I'm Team Stark, so it's just like, oh.
Yeah, I would say I'm Team Stark, but after Lyanna Mormont, I'm Team Mormont, I think. So yeah, we'll just go with that.
I'm a double agent, Mormont and Stark.
Let's see where they go from there. Let me find my notes. I actually ended up taking a lot more notes about this episode than I thought I would. Okay, from there they transition back to Littlefinger with Ned and Kat. And one of those jokes that was also priceless is when he, Littlefinger is taking Ned and he's just like, your wife's in here. And he's walking up to the fucking brothel. And Ned almost gets to the point of wanting to slit his fucking throat. He's just like, are you a funny man? He's just like...
And then she just pops her head out the window.
What I think might be like one of the hardest times I've ever laughed at Game of Thrones is that scene right there. It is gold.
Oh, one of the other things I laughed at that we totally forgot to mention was when Catelyn arrived in King's Landing.
Oh yeah,
she pops out and he mentioned how many people are out and about that can see her, and she's like, "It's been however many years, since I've been here. No one knew me then. No one will know me now." And then immediately, Lady Stark, and it's like, well, shit. And then one of the things I wanted to point out about that in this scene, you learn that Varys's little birds whisper in his ear all sorts of things, and that's how he knew they were coming.
So is that the first time they ever say anything about the little birds?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It has to be, right? This is the first time we've met Varys.
True.
Well, not the first time, but the first episode. But also, did you notice in the earlier scene when she first arrived, the people that rode up to her and took her to Littlefinger, they were King's guards working in secret for frickin' Baelish. So, yeah.
Who, at this point, is working secretly for Cersei.
Yeah.
And at this point, we need a fucking flowchart because it's about to get dense as far as, like...
I need some push pins and some yarn.
There's so much backstabbing.
Preferably one color yarn for each house.
Yeah.
Because it's... Yeah.
Yeah, it's about to get ridiculous. So this was the point where I said we would circle back to Littlefinger's delivery when he's talking to Cat is the closest you get to. It's pretty damn close to his mannerisms now.
Yes.
To the point to where I think it was intentional. And, the person he is most obsessed with in the entire world other than himself is Catelyn Stark.
Right.
So I feel like it's so subtle. But I feel like, this wasn't him putting on a front. That was genuine Peter Baelish in that scene.
Yes, I agree. Because him versus that small council meeting, it's just a night and day difference in the character.
He's basically, when you think about it, he's kind of like the Lex Luthor of King's Landing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like he'll put on his...
Everyone else sees what they want and they just take it. He kind of works from the shadows, he gets everyone else to take stuff for him. So, yeah, and you're starting to see a little bit of that from him. The analogy that I would make that you haven't gotten far enough in, which is why I can't say the name of the villain, but if you ever get back into Bleach, the villain of Bleach is very much the way this guy operates. The way Baelish operates.
Well, shit, that's all you had to say, man.
Yeah, no, you need to get back into Bleach. But, yeah, dude, this scene was pretty awesome. Like you said, you're starting to see Littlefinger. I like the scene a little bit later when Ned is there also. Because he kind of... It's like he switches back and forth between the two. The way I see it, when he's talking to Kat, he's kind of his underhanded, devious self, and when he looks just over her shoulder and talks to Ned, he's the Baelish from the small council.
Yeah, it's almost like he can't help himself.
Yeah,
he puts on so many faces depending on who he's talking to. He literally can't help himself. It's crazy. Yeah. It's like he has no reason to be doing that, and he's doing it nonetheless. How the fuck has Aidan Gillen not been added to Marvel or DC yet?
I don't know. I've been wondering that myself.
Okay, I understand why you go with Cumberbatch, just because it's fucking Cumberbatch, but I always wanted him badly for Doctor Strange.
I did too.
He would have absolutely crushed that role. Make him a bad guy in Doctor Strange, dude. Like, give me something. Give me something.
Give me something. Hell, dude, fuck. Make him someone in Spider-Man. Who could he be in Spider-Man?
Let's see. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. But who'd be cool is if they got around to doing Green Lantern, Sinestro. He'd be a cool Sinestro.
Oh, he'd be a really cool Sinestro.
Yeah. Now I'm just geeking out over shit that's never going to happen. So now I'm sad.
Not as sad as you will be in future Game of Thrones episodes.
What I need to show you to really blow your fucking mind is, I accidentally kind of made a Wire reference in how I called him Lex Luthor kind of in Game of Thrones. He's very much similar to that in The Wire, because in The Wire he plays the mayor who on the forefront looks like a pretty likable guy, and behind the scenes is a total shit stain. as Aidan Gillen does better than fucking no one.
So
better
he's in
than
that
shit.
too?
Yeah, Aidan Gillen. He's in like the last few seasons of it. I want to show you later a clip of just where you see him. First of all, with a regular American accent and not being Littlefinger will blow your fucking mind. I need to remind me to show you this. But yeah, we need to speed it up because we have a lot to fucking get through in this episode.
Yeah, we do.
So let's see where we are. Oh, they start setting the fucking groundwork for them calling the dagger Tyrion's.
Yes.
He conveniently lost the dagger in a bet to Tyrion. Yeah, we will obviously be circling back to that in future episodes, but I thought that was pretty interesting.
Here's a question that's been nagging at the back of my mind for 3 episodes now, and I can't, for the life of me, remember. What happens to the dagger? Does it just disappear?
I bet you it's a MacGuffin and it disappears, basically.
You don't think it's going to resurface in like season 7 or something?
If they don't have
the reason I ask, there's not many Valyrian steel weapons, and we know what's coming, and we know what Valyrian steel can do.
Honestly, if we don't get an explanation of where it goes in this season, I don't think we ever will. I think they have too much. They have 13 episodes left, roughly. They don't have time to remember that dagger back in season 1. We need them desperately, but it is a little convoluted. If we go from here to season 7, never hearing about it. No, I got it. It's with Gendry and Arya's dog on the boat. That's where the knife is. Problem solved. It's like where in the world is Carmen Sandiego on fucking Gendry's boat? Okay,
She's
we're going to start
too.
running through these a little quicker. We go to the Night's Watch, and one of my exclamation points was Commander Goddamn Mormont. I love me some Commander Mormont.
I love
dude.
Mormont.
I love all the Mormonts. They're all fucking awesome in their own way.
Yeah, I think I'm a Bear Island guy, actually.
We need I Believe in Lyanna Mormont shirts now.
Yes.
with Jorah on the back, like sad on the back of the shirt. Yeah, we can make some money off that shit. No one take that idea. All 3 of you that actually get to this point. I love the scene where Thorne is directing the combat training with Snow.
Yes.
And Snow's in a fucking circle like Neo style, just taking out like 12 different Night's Watchmen. And they have this really great quote by Thorne where he says, "Well, Lord Snow, it appears you're the least useless person here."
I like that one too.
That sums up how much of a dick Thorne is in one fucking line. Now this was interesting. Snow's like fucking first full day there, and he already almost gets knifed by Night's Watchmen.
Yes,
I completely forgot about this.
Completely forgot about this scene at all. And yeah, and by people that are later his friends too. How's that for foreshadowing?
Yeah, one of them there ends up being one of his best friends. Besides, I think isn't he the one who gets killed fighting the giant?
I think
in the tunnel. I think
so. Yeah.
He dies at some point. Like he makes it a long time, like up until that battle. I believe in season 4 or 5, whatever season that was.
I want to say 4 was the wall invasion.
Yeah, it was because 5 was Hardhome.
Giant fucking swinging scythes, Jeff.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't fucking wait.
And is that the first season that they had the new special effects company?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, they outdid themselves.
They really did. They continue to fucking do so outside of Jon Snow's sword. So this was more fucking gold Tyrion stuff. When he walks in and saves Snow, and all of his dialogue between the Night's Watchmen is fantastic. I like very distinctive faces, all of you. I love everything he says. It's fantastic.
I loved his line delivery on the "What are you looking at?" "I'm looking at you." Like, isn't it obvious?
Dinklage, man, we got it. He got it down, dude. Like quickly.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Let's see. I'm going to circle back around to this a little bit more later, but I really, really want more scenes with Kit Harington and Dinklage because they're always great together.
Yes.
It's almost a shame the way the storylines worked out. They only had like 3 episodes roughly to talk to each other because they were really, really good together on screen. I thought I'd like to see that come in future seasons.
You know who I miss that we saw at the at Castle Black?
Half the cast.
Half the cast. I always really liked the guy that Tyrion is just chilling, drinking beer with.
Oh, yeah. Now, you remember, he's actually with Arya at the beheading. Yeah, I'd forgotten about him until
I saw him, and I just instantly, oh, I remember you.
Everybody really liked you. So, let's see. Did you have anything else to add with the Tyrion and Snow bits at that point?
No, not really. Other than just that dialogue that Tyrion has with Benjen. It's like, God damn, Starks and Lannisters do not get along.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic.
I think he's starting to like me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a little bit. That's
later.
Yeah, that's later. I put down some of the quotes for that one, I believe. So, because he saves him here. He's just with Snow, and then later on he goes and talks to Benjen and that guy. Okay, so from there we see Catelyn leaving King's Landing. You're talking about heartbreaking, man. I'm pretty sure this is the last scene that Sean Bean and Catelyn have together.
Yep, and knowing that long ass shot on Sean Bean makes so much more sense now.
Dude, Sean Bean is such a good actor. You could almost it's almost like he knows.
Yeah.
Specifically what happens to everyone.
Of course, he's
so
cast
good
in a TV show or a movie. He knows exactly what's going to happen.
I'm pretty sure I'd die in the third act, if not before. Sean Bean gets deja vu worse than anybody, man.
Oh, I know.
So, yeah, that was devastating. And then the way that they look at each other as she's, she almost doesn't want to turn away when she's on the horse.
Yeah.
Devastating. Fucking devastating.
I forgot about, we glossed over and I forgot about that scene in the throne room when Baelish walks by. I was like, ask your wife. I would, but she's back in Winterfell. Is she? And keeps walking. The look on Stark's face. He's just like,
oh, yeah.
The fuck?
And you can tell, oh, man. Littlefinger would kill him himself if he could. He is so obsessed with Catelyn. It is just, it's crazy. So now this is one of my favorite scenes of the episode. It's Sir Barristan. I think the first time we see Sir Barristan, he's the Kingsguard commander guy.
Yes.
With the scene where Robert is drunk and they end up swapping
when is
war
Robert
stories.
Not drunk?
Well, even more drunk for his standards. And they start swapping war stories of their first kills. This scene's awesome.
Yes.
First of all, my first note, I love drunk Mark Addy because he's amazing. And this was really cool too. So he has the quote where he says, "They never tell you how they all shit themselves. They don't put that part in the songs." Yeah. And every time I've always referenced that in a joking manner. I reference Venture Brothers.
I know.
I think Venture Brothers might have been referencing Game of fucking Thrones when they made that joke.
That's the part they never tell you.
Yeah, that part's never on TV. Now I want to fucking Venture Brothers, man.
I know, right?
Now this is I told you earlier before we started recording I was going to circle back to a certain thing we were talking about. You were making fun of me because I was yawning.
Yeah.
This is the first time we see Lancel. Do you remember in Spaceballs, the prince that the princess is supposed to marry who keeps yawning? He fucking looks just like that guy. He even has the same fucking... And I Googled it because it made me think of it. He has the same fucking colored sloping hat with the long blonde hair. I was like, that could not have been an accident, dude. That could not have been a fucking accident. After the episode, Google them side by side, and it'll be like, holy shit, that was a Spaceballs reference. It has to be. There's no other explanation. I think I partially broke Ron.
I cannot continue this conversation.
Am I right though? When you think about it, like he literally is like cosplaying as Baseball's Prince.
That's amazing. I've never even thought about it.
And now you will never not see it.
I'll
and you're
never
welcome.
not see it.
You are welcome. I really like. No, I'm just thinking about fucking Spaceballs. Now I have to recollect my own thoughts. Jamie, I like how him and Sir Barristan kind of have the back and forth of how Sir Barristan happened to be there when his first death happened.
Yeah.
And like, dude, fucking the Jamie actor. I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation, but can I get enough praise? Nikolai Coster-Waldau, I think is his name.
Jesus, just call him Jamie.
He's fucking awesome. That whole conversation's awesome. I could have written down the whole thing as quotes if time permitted because it was all so good. Was there anything else you wanted to add with that portion?
The only thing that I made mental note of in that scene was when he asked him what the Mad King said.
Oh, yes. I meant to talk about that. Yeah, that is some deep, heavy shit and great acting.
Not only was Jamie's acting amazing when he said the same thing he'd been saying for hours, burn them all, the look on Robert's face.
He sobered up a little bit.
The first time that you watch this, your reaction is just kind of like, oh, that's awful. And that's kind of how you take Robert's reaction to it. But knowing the full backstory and knowing what that green goo from hell is capable of, you know that having been there, Robert himself, he knows exactly what Jamie is saying with just those words. Like, he realizes the full depth of what Jamie is trying to tell him when he says that.
You really cannot 100% get or appreciate this show until you revisit it multiple times.
Oh yeah,
and that is the best works of fiction, in my opinion. When you can have something that you can find new ways to enjoy, no matter how many times you watch it, it means it's something's really special.
Yes.
So that was your last note with that?
That was my last note with that, because I was almost taken aback when I saw Robert's reaction to that, and I'm like, oh my god, he fucking knows exactly what Jamie's saying. Yeah.
And yeah,
I had forgotten all about this scene, and then I saw that.
I had to. From there, we get some real good shit with Khaleesi and Jorah. This is
I love this scene.
This is Khaleesi first starting to come into her own. One of my favorite quotes from the episode is, "You're learning to talk like a queen, not a queen, a Khaleesi." Yeah. That was fucking metal quotes, man. When you know what's happening later on, love it. And I like how she ventures off, and then they have her brother pop up out of nowhere, you know?
Yeah.
All freaking out, like, you don't order the dragon to do blah, 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 and he starts freaking out on her. And he gets that fucking whip, dude.
They catch him with a sword to their queen's face. Yeah. That was amazing.
I like how they're about to just casually execute her brother, and they're trying to do, like, the translations back and forth. Yeah. And then when the translator ends up translating, like, don't kill him, they're both just kind of annoyed they don't get to kill him. Like, yeah. It's very, very cool.
I love the way he looks at the translator, and then she just kind of gives that little shrug, like, I don't know either. Like,
yeah.
I don't get it either.
Fucking Westerosi white people. That was like their look.
My favorite part of this whole thing, though, as metal as all that was, right? Was when he commands Jorah to kill the guy with the whip, and Jorah just gives him this fuck off look.
You know what's funny? Is my exact quote was Jorah basically tells Viserys to fuck off. Like,
he gives him this fuck off look, and then immediately turns to Khaleesi and starts talking to her like the guy's not even there.
He turns to her without ever fucking acknowledging douchebag Viserys, and he just says, "Is it time to go back to the Khalasar, Khaleesi?"
Yeah,
it's so good. Like they're such good writers. They have fucking payoff to their lines within like 5 minutes.
I'm pretty sure the first time I ever watched this, that scene with Jorah giving him the fuck off look, and then completely just pretending he's not even there. That's probably the moment he became my favorite character along with Ned Stark. First time I ever watched this.
He's awesome. I mean, I've forgotten just how awesome Jorah is in the early seasons. I mean, he still is awesome now, but they had more room for him back then.
They have more room. Now they've got too many plot lines and characters to cover.
Yeah. There's too many people that Bran has to get dead, Ron. There's no time for cool characters like Jorah, okay?
Hold the door. Are you telling me someone dies?
First of all, 2 tsunami. Second of all, fuck Bran. Let's get back to this conversation. So from there, we go back to the really, really amazing scene between Benjen, Tyrion, and then the guy that we really liked, who we need to actually figure out what his fucking name is.
The guy that we really like.
Yeah,
that's funny enough after all the South Park references.
Yeah. You want to talk about fucking quotes that transcend the show? You know, my brother once told me that nothing someone says before the word "but" really counts. That is fucking gold right there, dude.
Yes.
I don't know if that was Martin or Benioff and Weiss or them paraphrasing Martin. That quote, fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that's one you could put in Forbes.
Exactly. That's again. This scene's so fantastic. I could have quoted the whole thing, but for time's sake, just fucking YouTube the scene. We will not do it justice.
The look on the dude everyone really likes face when Tyrion turns to him and says, "Do you think I'm plump?" And then he's like half trying not to laugh and half looking at Tyrion like, "Don't push it, little man." Like, Benjen will tear your head off.
It's like a part of it is like Tyrion, I think, is actually genuine in what he's saying, but he is such a smartass.
Yeah.
You could take, like, if when you know him better like we do now,
yeah,
you know a part of that was genuine. But at that point in the show, he's such an asshole, and so it's just such a smartass. All of that could be taken as horseshit, like Benjen takes it. So, yeah, it's interesting character stuff too for Tyrion. Was there anything else you wanted to add with that portion?
No, that was all I had. I loved the plump quote and I think he's starting to like me.
Yeah, it's all gold. And he invites him to go back to King's Landing with him. Yeah, that's going to be some fun stuff later on. From there, they actually transition back quickly to Khaleesi finds out she's pregnant. And then they actually have a cool little bit of foreshadowing and a clue that I didn't catch the first time through. Jorah's reaction to finding out the baby's a thing,
yes,
is a complete clue. He's a spy,
and if you know that, it's so obvious.
Yeah, but when you don't, it went over my fucking head like everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel so stupid for not picking up on that the first time I ever saw this.
I know. But it's like the same thing. They're throwing so much at you. You're like, wait, what's a Khaleesi? Like, your brain's still trying to figure that part out. Not, oh, he's a fucking spy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely over my head.
From there, they cut back to the Night's Watch. First time we see Maester Aemon. Another really great character who I miss on the show. He was always awesome.
Yes.
They have
and so intense in this episode.
Do what?
I said, and he's so intense in this episode.
Also, a lot of the shit he says is dead on.
Yep.
He's telling them, like, we are not equipped. That is Commander Mormont, Aemon, and Tyrion, and they are pleading with Tyrion to get more people and supplies for the Night's Watch from the Queen.
Yes.
Which does not work, because of course it doesn't. And yeah, the Night's Watch at any moment is about to not be a thing anymore because they never fucking got any help.
They're too busy killing each other at this point.
Yeah, and then later on, they're so fucking devastated in numbers. Like, at any point, dude, maybe the first episode back, the Night's Watch is about to not be a thing. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So let's see. Love the Maester Aemon stuff. This was the last scene between Dinklage and Kit Harington I talked about earlier. I'd really like to see more. I'm so afraid of heights that Tyrion pissing off the wall in front of a green screen kind of freaked me out because I was like, dude, fuck that.
I love that he's pissing off the edge of the wall just to say he did.
Right? That is such a Tyrion thing. He doesn't have to say a fucking word.
That is so Tyrion from like 5 years ago.
That's Tyrion.
That's Tyrion.
Yeah, I like how their last exchange basically, there's a mutual respect between them.
I was gonna say they finally respect each other.
Yeah. Because like they have so much in common. Like
Yeah.
they when you think about it, they're both, like he says, dwarves are always bastards in their father's eyes. Like
Yeah.
there is a lot in common between
Not to
them
mention how hard Jon Snow worked at being a swordsman and everything else, and then Tyrion studying and reading all the time. He said he has the duty to his house the way he does. They're actually a lot alike. They're just on different ends of the spectrum.
yes, and on opposing sides, unfortunately, for a long time.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about your boy Ron, the goddamn dancing master, and what is, now that I've watched it a couple more times, one of my favorite scenes from the series. I think is
agree.
that actor is fucking amazing.
Yes.
I want to see him in more stuff, and I can't think of anything else I've ever seen him in. Unfortunately,
As far as I know, I don't think I've ever seen him in anything.
yeah, he needs to be
He needs to be Sirio in everything that he's in too.
I love him.
I could watch a Game of Thrones spinoff of just him.
Yeah, teaching random people how to sword fight and be like enthralling to me because he's so awesome. I like how he
needs a YouTube series that teaches you how to sword fight. That's what he needs.
Now you're talking about no one steal that idea. There was 3 earlier. Now one person still listening. Don't you take that fucking idea. So let's see. Tomorrow you will catch it. Now pick it up after he's thrown the sword to her.
Yes.
This is again. I could have quoted this entire fucking scene, but we don't have enough time, and we don't do it service anyway. So just fucking YouTube it. The one I did write down that I had to that was so awesome. He's been calling her boy the whole time, and then she says, "I'm a girl," and then his quote is, "Boy, girl, you are a sword. That is all."
Yes.
That's a badass quote, man. And it's even more poignant when you know what's to come.
Yes, and then I love how we're going to get to, is it the next time we see him, the next episode that we see him in, that he starts talking about, like, what do we say to death and stuff?
Yes.
And then here in a few more episodes, that means a lot more to you than it does.
You're going to make me cry, man. I love my Sirio.
I know, but dude, he goes out in such a boss way. Wooden sword, Geoff, and he's winning.
No. The twist is the Shyamalan twist. He didn't die. He escaped on Gendry's boat. He's still kicking, dude. He's still kicking.
I thought you were just gonna say he's been jocking this whole time.
That would actually be fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah, he just pulls his face off.
Yeah, this was actually my next note. I never actually put it together like a dipshit. He's from Bravos.
I knew that much, but I didn't know he fucking out and out told you the first time you met him.
Yeah, he was from Bravos. I think Martin already knew the Arya plotline if we're going to Bravos because this seemed like a very important thing.
The reason I knew that is because I remembered the whole reason she recognizes Bravos when she meets Jaqen, when he's killing people for her, Assassin's Creed style. That's the whole reason she wants to go there. Because she meets 2 people from Bravos. I remembered that. I did not remember him out and out fucking telling you.
Yeah, and then there's so much there of her, going to Bravos. She learns how to sword fight the proper way from, he's from Bravos, and then she ends up being taught how to fucking serial kill.
Yes.
In Bravos. It's very, very cool. The Arya subplots and stuff. And the episode ends with a really, really cool moment where Ned walks into the room after he has arranged for her, quote unquote, dance master.
Yeah.
And, they're having this happy moment. And in true Game of Thrones fashion, they have to make it dark and deep. PTSD. Because as they're having the with the wooden sword, the playful sword fight, and he's, like a Sirio's quipping the whole time, and it's a happy moment. Arya's having fun. His daughter's having fun. Ned's daughter.
Ned's having fun watching.
He's having fun watching, and then he starts hearing as their wooden swords, hit each other, actual swords clashing. And you want to talk about maybe the deepest moment of what I talked at the beginning of the episode of the calm before the storm is they knew what they were doing in this episode because this is showing you Ned understanding not the specifics, but shit's about to go down. and no one's safe.
How'd you like his reaction when Syrio basically fucking like stabs Arya in the stomach and he hears like people dying and like blood gushing? Like
Fucking Sean Bean, man.
I know. They couldn't have picked a more genius person to play Eddard Stark.
Quit fucking picking roles where you die, Sean Bean. I want to see more of you. Damn it.
And I really like him in this setting. Like, when he's Boromir in Lord of the Rings, like, I really like him when he's in this era. He's really good at playing in this era.
He's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Just pitch fucking perfect.
That's why I hope the rumors about Wonder Woman were true, but oh well.
Maybe a sequel, man.
Maybe.
I don't know if they're actually doing Ares yet, but if they are doing fucking Ares...
They need to get him.
That needs to happen. It needs to not be a rumor. It needs to happen. But yeah, that is all my notes. Was there anything else you want to touch on before we sign off?
No, just if I had to add one more thing, I just loved the, Syrio, the dead, and then right in front of her face, very dead.
Yes. Very, very cool. And I want a, excuse the pun, but I would actually buy an Apple phone if I could switch Siri to fucking Syrio, dude. I want that guy giving me fucking Google Maps directions.
Syrio.
Let's see. If you have checked us out thus far, we appreciate you actually giving us a listen. I'll stick with 1. Probably a solid 1.
Maybe.
Bless you, Shelby.
Maybe aiming high. I don't know.
Yeah. Bless you, Shelby. So if you would like to check us out more, please like and subscribe. That gets you all of our Let's Plays, reaction shows, and podcasts, all of the such. We also have Facebook and Twitter links in the description below if you are interested in those. And most importantly, if you would like to check us out more, we always can get more shit up on YouTube if we get more viewers. So please share us out. For this night, all the nights to come, I am Geoff.
And I'm Ron, and now this watch is ended.